Tatum, just get in the car.
Hello, Sydney.
From bursting onto the scene through the exploitation film Last House on the Left, through the birth of the greatest modern day horror icon in Freddy Krueger, to reinventing the horror genre with the Scream franchise, Wes Craven crafted a stellar career that wasn't afraid to test the boundaries of his audience. Sometimes this worked great, and sometimes we got Vampire in Brooklyn and Cursed. Joining me on the show to discuss the legacy of Wes Craven are Dave the Klone, the CEO of the Hollow9ine Network, filmmaker Jeff Kacmarynski, and the organiser behind the ChamPain Indie Horror Fest, Jarrod Finn, otherwise known as the eye candy for this show. Come with us as we explore Craven's impact on the horror genre.
Abandon all hope, all that enter Terror Firma.
Are you still trying to spell your name there, Dave?
It does take a long time when I'm using my fucking phone for some reason. I don't like that, to be honest. I liked my old phone so much better. I'd just gotten really good at typing on it, and all of a sudden it fucking died.
Are we live now?
Yes.
Oh shit, are we? You dick. That was awesome, though. I would have done the same thing.
Well,
That's why start it prepared when you can just start it with someone talking about how shit their phone is.
Well, it's a good thing I put the lotion away in time.
Yep.
Well, you don't have to put your pants on, though, because we're only, like, neck up. We're, like, 2-button.
what pants?
There you go. Exactly.
Exactly.
That's how you want to start a Wes Craven episode, by the way.
Yep.
What pants? I don't know.
They're under the stairs.
Jarrod,
Yeah,
Jarrod sneaking Swamp Thing away there. Let's go along the banner when introduce themselves. You can start. Jeff, you go first.
Who, me? Oh, yeah.
No, the other dude named Jeff.
I'm pretty sure there's only one, right?
I'm Jeff Kacmarynski. I just make trashy exploitation horror films in my spare time under the Cellar Dweller name.
That's the best kind of horror films.
Yep.
Fuck this highbrow stuff.
Who needs budgets?
And
Zero
Jarrod,
budgets. Hey, no, I have a budget this time.
I am Jarrod Finn. I am a indie filmmaker, also currently the co-director of the new ChamPain Indie Horror Fest. Kind of taking up the reins here in Central Illinois, bringing a good old horror fest the weekend before Halloween, and we're taking submissions right now. I will have Drew send out a link again. I will at some point put up the website on my lower third. But yeah, 0 to 25 minute short films, not an hour and 20 minutes like we just received. But
yeah, that guy was a dick. I'm not watching an hour, 20-minute long shit film. Mate.
Yeah.
5 minutes of that, and that was enough.
But yeah, you can submit films via filmfreeway.com like Jeff did.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, I did.
I wish I had a film. I wish I had a film ready to submit.
Well, the only film
It could be
you've
an
got
old
is-
one.
The only film Dave's got is his fuck tape.
Yeah, and I already am
do not
paying a
submit
lot of money to keep that off a lot of websites, to be honest with you. So
It really is a horror film.
where a lot of our startup budget went actually already. So
Lots of wide
Dave
lens.
Klone. Oh yeah. Well, you J.J. Abrams it up. You want to make an impact, even if it's.
It's not so much lens flares; it's just come on
Lens
the lens.
flares.
That's how you hide the fact that you hit the guy in the face. And that was a bad day for that cameraman.
Yep.
Anyway,
I'm not going to say it was a small budget, but it was just Dave, Pornhub, and some lube.
Oh, the rabbit holes we go down.
sometimes you have to make do with what you have. Anyway, for the rest of the stuff that I actually try to make money doing, you could check out Hollow9ine.com, which is the home site for my podcast network, where I'm the CEO and founder and one of the major showrunners for a lot of the shows on there. But we have a lot of stuff going on, stuff that we're not really 100% ready to talk about yet, but at some point we will be, because Drew's even going to be involved in some of it too. So it's going to be cool. So thank you very much for having me as part of this Wes Craven talk, though, because he's a huge influence in almost everything. You know what I mean? Between writing and probably the taste that we all have, I think, probably in some of the stuff that we watch now. So very cool to get to talk about a master of the craft.
Yep. Drew, as always, although it says Terror Carson here for some fucked up reason, obviously our start up earlier. And I'm also going to be Brett the Jaeger for this episode because he bailed. So what trouble can I get into pretending to be him?
I don't know, man. That's a lot of responsibility.
Yep. I won't mention how I ripped off bone jangles from about 90 other movies.
And we'll pretend we didn't hear you.
I didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
So, skipping
along.
what was
You guys are breaking up.
What was everyone's first Wes Craven experience? What was the first Wes Craven movie you saw?
Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah,
I think that's a lot for a lot of the younger generation, excluding Jeff.
Thanks, I guess.
Yeah, it was like, I think that was like a rite of passage movie. You know, I feel like it was so many references to it and so many other pieces of pop culture that growing up, it was either if you had older siblings, they probably showed it to you, or you were at a friend's house whose older siblings were showing it to you. But it's definitely the thing that we all watched, and then we're like, holy fuck, I wish I didn't watch that because now I can't sleep. But it was awesome.
I mean, it also didn't help that my best friend at the height of the Nightmare movies lived on Elm Street here in ChamPain. And
every town has an Elm Street, though.
Every town does.
Every town has an Elm Street.
And then I remember there was the trailer for, it was like the 6th one maybe, where the trailer is just the street sign coming up out of the ground. So it's like, even if your town didn't have an Elm Street, he'd fucking put an Elm Street there just to be able to hang out.
Yeah.
My first is this, obviously, The Hills Have Eyes. I can't recall much about seeing it the first time, but it was my first, and it scared the shit out of me. But I would have to say the real one that I definitely remember everything about was Nightmare on Elm Street. So even though I am older, that's where I started to familiarize myself with the name Wes Craven. So
yeah, and
for most of us,
if you go back to episode 1 of the podcast, that I interviewed with Michael Berryman, that's just a cheap plug for me.
No plugs are cheap plugs on your own show, man.
No.
All plugs are cheap plugs if it's your own show. You fuckers are supposed to know all this shit already.
That was actually what we were going to call the sex tape. All plugs are cheap plugs.
All plugs. All plugs are allowed.
Keeping that buried. I think the first time I realized he would do stuff outside of the Nightmare franchise growing up, with Nightmare being the most prominent, was People Under the Stairs. That was fucking crazy when that came out.
That's my favorite Wes Craven. It's just because it's hilarious.
Oh yeah.
Well, and it reunites 2 cast members from Twin Peaks.
Yes.
Too, so that's at its height, at Twin Peaks height, and then the People Under the Stairs came out. It was like immediate. Yeah, I got to see that.
Yeah. That's crazy too, and they're the level to which they took it. Like did he call you a fool? No, he's the fool, and it's just like, oh my god. And when next time we see him, he's like carving pieces of the guy off and eating it raw. You're like, that's wild, man. That is wild. Very Freddy Krueger-ish. Yeah. And what, AJ Langer from My So-Called Life in there too.
I think I was probably 4 when I saw Nightmare on Elm Street. So had an effect on me. I think I fucking slept in my own bed for about a month after that.
4. How did that happen? It wasn't as easy for that to happen back then. You know, you didn't stumble onto somebody's phone that had their iTunes open. And...
Well, this isn't horror. My first rated R movie was 5 years old when my father took me to Die Hard 2.
Nice.
And I was like 5 years old.
That is a horror movie.
Oh no, that's awesome, man.
I can't say anything bad about Die Hard 2 because I'm friends with the screenwriter. So
no, Die Hard 2 is good.
I love
Seriously.
Die Hard 2.
Yeah, I had 2 older brothers, and my mum was batshit crazy. She would basically go to the video shop and just say, "Does it have nudity in it?" And if the person said no, you could watch fucking anything. And it's like, people who've seen Nightmare on Elm Street, there is nudity in it.
I was gonna say there's nudity in all of them. It's some quick side boob in the tub there.
Yeah.
We clocked it like fucking Mr. Skin or whatever they were trying to launch in Knocked Up.
But I think not long after Elm Street, I actually saw Last House on the Left, which is quite...
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Brutal.
It's brutal as an adult. Try watching that as a child.
Is that's Friends? What is that? What am I watching?
As much as I love... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead. It's all good.
As much as I love Wes Craven's earlier stuff, my personal favorite is Serpent and the Rainbow. Yeah. There's just something about that movie. I don't know what it is. It's just it kind of... I wouldn't say it stepped out of what Craven normally does, but it kind of does. I mean, it just seems kind of epic for him. It's different.
Yeah. I don't know. I think when I got the box set, that original collector's edition DVD, that was the whole Nightmare series, where if you put all the discs together, it made a picture of Freddy with standing with his back to you. On the bonus disc, there was this piece where he was talking about how he got to actually get into filmmaking. And most of it is because he was working either at a studio and kind of like someone took him under their wing. And it's like one of those stories where if someone hadn't just decided to like be cool for a minute and give somebody a chance, we might have never fucking had this, you know? And I think that was the moment I was watching that. I was, I think, a sophomore in college. I was home for holiday break. And I think at that moment I was like, I really hope I get a chance to meet this guy, because those are like the real people, you know, the people who they may be in the business now, and God knows how much it has gotten to them since they got in, but at least they were super real at the beginning. And I think maybe there's a part of them that will always remember that, you know, not that you would ask him for help, but just like, it would be cool to hang out with a guy like that for an hour. The shit you guys would wind up talking about would be crazy, you know?
Yeah.
Well, even back in the 90s and early 2000s, Craven produced or executive produced or presented a lot of independent films too, that you'd never hear of the directors, and some of them went straight to video and whatnot, but still that was, you know, a pretty good thing that he did to help out. Whether those people are still making movies or not today, but hey, at least they can say Wes Craven presented my film, you know.
He saw something in it enough to put his name on it, you know.
Right. There was a lot of garbage too, but there was a lot of good stuff.
Well, this genre, it's easy for a lot of stuff to get through the gate, you know.
Yeah.
He produced like Laurel Canyon and random shit that wasn't even horror though as well. Although you have like Wishmaster, which was basically sold on the fact that it had Wes Craven's name all over it, and he didn't fucking direct it. That's got to be a kick in the nuts if you're the director, innit?
Yeah, but at that point, you know, a paycheck's a paycheck, and you know, it goes on the reel, man. I did this.
Right. You just make sure you don't get fucking signed to do the sequel.
Yeah. Oh god. How many?
Eventually, they couldn't even afford Andrew Divoff, and they had to get fucking Jason Connery in it.
How many Theys did they make? Weren't there like a Wes Craven Presents They? And then weren't there like 2 or 3 of those? And
I only ever saw the first.
I know, but it's like just from hearing the title, I was almost like, oh, maybe I'll give it a shot. But you know, I mean, I think the last thing I really, really liked was Scream. You know, I actually hate to. I know it's not cool to like those movies anymore, but I really liked the first 2 or 3 of them. You know, I mean. 1 and 2 more than 3, but then 4 had clever moments, and then I don't even know how many there are now, but it's probably, isn't it getting rebooted, or it was a TV series?
It was a TV series on MTV, or
and I'm
still
like,
is.
well,
or-
first of all, fuck that. If it's on MTV, I'm not watching it. I'm just like, no, sorry, guys. I want the music videos back before you put on a fucking series. You know?
I want my MTV.
Yeah.
Fucking music videos in the state, you know, and liquid television. Fuck this, like, I don't know. I'm sure that's being very dismissive. I should probably give it a chance just because I like the source material, but, you know.
I wouldn't. It's shit.
I was just trying to leave the door open, but fuck it, whatever.
No, fuck it. People that are on that show ain't going to come on this one because I don't fucking want them on. So.
You never. I was gonna say you never know, but I guess you do.
You got to make definite decisions in life, and I've decided that show's shit.
Hey, it's respectful, man. I respect it. It's worth respect.
To me, Wes Craven, just, you know, along with Romero and some of the older filmmakers that got their start in the 70s, they were just, I don't know, they took chances with things, and you know, you just don't see that in a lot of horror films these days. And what I say is kind of the generic style of making horror films. It's all jump scares, it's all the same stuff, or it's remakes, you know. But I miss that whole thing, you know, Craven, Romero, Argento when he was in his prime, you know. It's just they took chances and did different things, and they weren't afraid. They, fuck you, this is what I'm gonna do, you know. I'm gonna make a movie called Shocker, and it's gonna be about a guy who's electrocuted, and I don't care what you think, you know. It just,
that guy just happened to be Skinner from the X-Files, but it's okay. Doesn't sell it at all, you know.
And that was before the X-Files, actually, though.
Right, right.
Yeah.
That's
But
when,
for any of the kids who are going to be going back and listening now that us cool people are telling them, we got to give them stuff they'll understand.
yeah, and it was before Peter Berg was a filmmaker when he was trying to be an actor and couldn't act for shit.
Oh my God, remember that?
Yeah.
The only fucker that cast him knows himself.
So did he?
I just remember him from what, Chicago Hope?
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't he in that crazy movie with Linda Fiorentino called The Last Seduction? And Bill Pullman is in that shit too. Going back to Serpent in the Rainbow, keeping the skulls coming back.
He was in shit. I know he was in a lot of shit.
And now you're on the layer cake.
And then he directed some shit. Some alright stuff, but a lot of shit.
The Rundown with The Rock.
Yeah.
I think, which I thought was fucking hilarious when I was watching the behind the scenes on that. I'm like, this guy? All right. Whatever.
I think that every time I see The Rock in a movie.
You do you, Hollywood. Yeah. I'm not going to question anymore. I'll just decide what I feel like paying for and what not. And I swear to God, if you were going to clone anybody, why didn't you clone enough body parts to keep Wes Craven alive? You know?
No, they've come up with a really good foot pump before every Rock movie because they like shove that foot pump up his arse and pump him up so he's like this.
Well, what's that thing they all take that
steroids?
Code Black.
Human growth.
Code Black. Yeah, and it's called Code Black something Code Black. Yeah. That's probably what all the other shit stands for.
Shrink my testicles, make my muscles big.
Well, now he just runs around with Siri and makes short movies on YouTube, apparently. If you've all seen that.
Is that like an actual thing? I thought it was just a commercial. I was like,
I don't know. It's a YouTube thing. I think it's a short movie. I don't know. Who knows? I didn't watch.
Ridiculous.
It wouldn't surprise me if it was a feature movie after he made the Baywatch movie, for fuck's sake.
Oh, that happened too, right? That for a minute it was a thing alive, and then it died, and now it's just gonna stay dead, hopefully.
And now he's going to be the guy that takes over the role of Jack Burton because fucking sense.
Yeah, shit.
No,
we'll have to complain about that again when we do the John Carpenter tribute episode.
Fucking right,
knock on wood.
Well, he'll be a decent Black Adam.
Yeah,
but not a Jack Burton.
Yeah.
Not Jack.
Not when Jack Burton is still fucking alive and well making movies. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? If you saw him play, it's just like, get old man Jack Burton in here. You know?
They can dig up Harrison Ford for Blade Runner 2. They can dig up Jack Burton again.
Yeah, absolutely.
They dug him up, but they didn't get much out of him.
So now I never bothered watching, since we're talking about remakes, the Jackie Earl Haley version of Nightmare on Elm Street.
Yeah, the one that should have been called The Raping of Elm Street. I'll just put that in there because I got a lot of Twitter hate when I called my episode that. So.
The Raping of
Elm Street, yeah.
Oh, wow. So it's that bad.
It's bad.
Well, he's not a child murderer anymore. Now he just buggers kids, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
And then lets them live?
No. But, like, they die in a fire or something stupid. It's like... And
yeah.
I know
interesting change to make.
I know Robert Englund isn't exactly the most intimidating guy in the world, height-wise or physique-wise, but when you see, you know, wee Jackie there, you know, he's like... He makes Fern Troyer look tall.
Wow.
It's like
I liked him as Rorschach. I really liked him as Rorschach.
Yeah. Not a good Freddy Krueger though.
Yeah, true. I mean, they are not anywhere near the same character. So
yeah.
Good call on even mentioning it.
So we had a question from one of the dipshits that actually watches this. If there had to be a Wes Craven movie that get remade, which one would you want it to be? I chose Music of the Heart because I don't give a fuck about it if they remake it or not.
How about Deadly Friend? That they could probably remake and make it like an actual, like, palatably cool movie because no one will even think it was a thing. You know what I mean? They'll think it's new. They won't. It'll be one of those things that everyone's going like, "Oh yeah, did you see that thing with Selena Gomez called Deadly Friend?" And we're like, "Oh wait a minute, what? Who? Where? When?" you know that's from back in. Okay, never mind. Forget it. Fuck. This. Oh, you goddamn millennials.
You can also
that was the
original. Any of those fucking shitty TV ones he did.
Wasn't it the original Buffy that was in Deadly Friend? Kirsty Swanson?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think she was, yeah.
Being that robotic walk.
Oh, I remember she took the basketball and smashed somebody's head. That's about all I remember. That's about all I remember of the movie.
Smash it off their shoulders, right?
Something like that.
Yeah.
She took the ball, splat. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool, but do I remember the rest of it? No.
Shocktober. It was definitely one they showed on Channel 11 at October.
They could really remake Vampire in Brooklyn with like Kevin Hart and just fucking end his career.
So wouldn't that make it the
Wait,
same movie?
Wes Craven did that?
Yeah.
Wes Craven did that shit. I didn't remember he did that. I obviously didn't IMDb him before we started this, like I should have. Jesus Christ. That's crazy.
You got your IMDb. I took the guess. You did this? No, I didn't.
Sorry. If they remade Vampire in Brooklyn with Kevin Hart, it would look like Blackula and an Oompa Loompa fucked and had a child.
Wow. Damn. It probably would.
That might be the most offensive comment ever on Terror Firma. Congratulations.
I'm glad, and it's from probably the most PC person on here.
Yep.
Wes Craven is proud wherever he's watching this from. He's like, you guys are doing a great job. Oh, Red Eye. Holy shit, I forgot about Red Eye and Curse.
Red
Curse, where I was like watching it in the theater going, I have to like this. I have to like this. I can't like this. It's so bad. It's so bad.
Remember the hype for that when it came out? That was like, oh my god, it's so thrilling, it's amazing. And sat down and watched it like the day it came out on DVD, and I was like, god damn.
Weren't they trying to make it a new trilogy? Wasn't that supposed to launch another little mini franchise with Christina Ricci?
Yeah.
Yeah, didn't happen.
It's not nice to say it on a celebration about a man's legacy, but he should probably have died around about Scream 3. And he would have saved us a lot of shit movies.
Or just stopped or retired. Maybe he should have retired. I don't know if we have to say he should have died. Holy
retired.
Like, stop making movies. Stay alive. Just stop making movies. Not that I want to kill her per se. I just want her to not be alive anymore. Holy crap.
One of the most interesting things about him is the movies that he was scheduled to make that then didn't get made. Like, he was scheduled to make Beetlejuice 2.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. See, that would have been cool. That would have been cool.
I'm not quite sure if that was the script for Beetlejuice Goes Hawaiian, which...
The one, I thought that was the whole reason it didn't get made back in the day, because they were like, all right, even back now in the 80s, we know this is stupid. We're like, yeah, we can't do this. We're not even going to try. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
I know he was working on a show with Daniel Knopf. I think they were developing something. I hung out with Daniel Knopf in March, and he was telling me a little bit about it, and it sounded like it was going to be awesome. And obviously now it's just kind of there in the ether for, a few people to know almost had happened.
What could have been.
Exactly.
Damn. Wow.
Yeah.
That's rough.
I think he got booted off Beetlejuice 2 because he was too, fucking saying stuff like, well, this is shit. This doesn't make sense in the script. And
you just can you imagine being standing there right there, like you're supposed to be shooting that day? He's like, well, this is bullshit. What the fuck? It's like, I never read this before I decided to do this job. And now I get here and this is what we're doing? Fuck you.
What the hell kind of movie is this?
I think his main thing was, why do we need Winona Ryder and Alec Baldwin and all them back in it? Can't we just do it with a whole new family with Beetlejuice? It'll make more sense. That's his take on it. He's obviously been around Winona before and she'd make some shit for him.
I mean, Winona Ryder hasn't really acted differently since she was 13. I mean, she plays the same character.
Winona Ryder. She's Winona Ryder. Although I guess Stranger Things, she pushed a little bit. She stretched a little bit.
She opened her eyes wider.
Yeah, there's that.
She never ever really steals the show, but she does a good job of stealing the store. So
yeah.
Wow.
Not gonna fuck. She won't come on that show because I'm an arsehole. So fuck it.
Was that supposed to be a joke?
Do you know what fucking time of day it is in the UK? I'm amazed I haven't said cunt 10 times on this show. So
That's dedication.
It's because you said it beforehand enough. Got it out of your system, you damn fool.
Oh, man. It's always so much fun coming on this show. Just like, hey, some of us, it's like 2 a.m. and we don't know even what's happening. Like the world, it could be like, the world's end is going on outside. And I'm like, I'm in here podcasting. How's it going, guys?
Shaun of the Dead 2. They're doing a podcast.
That's fun.
Okay, I got my bad joke in too.
I'm almost like, how much have I missed? I have to watch that. I have to watch the rest of the World's End.
Yep.
But Wes Craven didn't make that, so we probably shouldn't talk about that on the show.
That was better than Shocker.
It's funny. There was a clip I was watching earlier. I think Looper put it out. That was like 12 movies that are being remade that you need to know about, or 12 movies that you didn't know about that are being remade. And it's like they have Maniac Cop in there. I'm surprised. I mean, to me, then Shocker's got to be like right around the corner. Then I mean, like next year they're like, oh yeah, we combed the rest of it. We're gonna actually do fucking real Toxic Avenger now, and we're also gonna do fucking Shocker. And transers. Fuck it. Let's do them all. Let's do all.
Let's remake Transfers. Are they still making Transfers movies?
I think they are actually. Yeah, well, IMDb that.
Are they getting Alan Hunt to be in it again, like the first three?
And Doll Man.
The Maniac Cop one has like the most random fucking people linked to it.
Yeah.
I don't remember who it was now.
Now,
It's like
for
some
some
fucker that was
reason,
Oscar-nominated screenwriter linked to it.
Yeah, I think didn't Larry Cohen write the screenplay, and
Yeah.
I think Bruce Campbell was in it.
Yeah, Bruce Campbell and
I should know. I got the Blu-ray.
what's the main guy? Shit, Zadar.
Robert Zadar.
Robert Zadar.
Yeah, the big guy. Yeah.
Yeah, with the
It's pretty.
chin, man. I just remember. I remember most vividly from Tango and Cash.
I watched some movie that was shot on video in like 1990 that he was in, and he must have been needing cash or something because all he did was sit in front of a bunch of TV monitors, and he was supposed to be a prison warden and at an all-women's prison, and all he did was just take the camera and zoom in on their body parts while they were taking showers, and he just sat there with that chin and his grin just going, like, oh my God.
Was this a
I don't even
Cinemax
remember
late
the
night
name.
movie? It was a Cinemax special.
I actually have it on DVD. It was part of a box set.
That's the excuse I always use.
What shelf's that on in your collection? Is it the top shelf?
It's the one
Does it
under
have
the
David
mattress.
Duchovny in it?
It's an under the mattress.
It's proudly on my shelf with all the rest of the crap I have.
So,
Rather watch that than some of the Hollywood movies.
Yeah.
no, fuck, who wouldn't? When was the last time you actually saw something in the pictures that wasn't just fucking average?
The last time, I mean, Logan, but even that, like, I don't know, to me, I don't count those when we're like considering the real pantheon of films. I feel like the whole comic book genre is just like outside, it's like a whole other thing. But yeah, I don't know. The last thing I saw that I was like, well, I mean, Arrival was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. Before that, maybe like Ex Machina. You know what I mean? It's been a like
Those are almost
that's a big gap.
Those are almost like outside the Hollywood system, though. To me, I mean, they had Hollywood actors, and well, Ex Machina really didn't, but to me, they were kind of outside of the whole studio system. Maybe that's why they were so good.
Probably.
Like I was at that Atomic Blonde the other night, and it's like there's a lot of stylized camera shit going on, but there's like no fucking substance or plot to that fucking movie.
Yeah, a friend of mine said it was basically a giant extended music video with a little bit of dialogue here and there.
Yeah.
Which I thought was so cool when
better
I was in high school in the 90s.
Probably better than The Dark Tower.
Oh, shit. Did you see it?
Yeah.
I have not yet, and I'm dreading it now. I want to go and just enjoy it, and I can't.
No, it's almost impossible to enjoy anything about it.
I know it's gonna be ass. Damn it.
I think
That
Colossal
sucks.
was awesome. Colossal was a great movie. But I guess now I'm thinking about it. A lot of it is outside of the main studio system,
Right.
because like last 2 years for me, it's been like Ex Machina, Arrival, Colossal, Moonlight.
Moonlight, yeah. Moonlight was good.
I'm trying to think.
And then the ones that I do like that kind of stand out are just Atomic Blonde is probably just the female version of John Wick. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that extended, complicated, choreographed action sequence awesome movie that I think all the shit in the 80s thought it was. You know what I mean? Like if you go back and watch some JCVD shit, you're like, yeah, see, they were trying for this, but John Wick really kind of kicks the crap out of all of them.
Yeah.
But you have things that people like Wes Craven created. Like Freddy Krueger is a pretty universal thing that anytime they've ever tried to remake it outside of the time where he was sort of at least overseeing, I mean, his name is still on kind of all of them, even if he didn't direct them. It was his thing that he gave birth to and changed the world. And it's like he created one of the modern day boogeymen, you know, and that's something that it's kind of interesting that they can't just they don't seem to be able to get right, you know. And now that we're in reboot territory, I feel like that would be the one that's the easiest one for them to try again. You know what I mean? Like it would be the one that would have the biggest target on it. Like, what about a Freddy vs. Jason 2 that we've been sitting around waiting for after the way they kind of ended that shit box of a movie? Like finally crossed over 2 major franchises, and it's like, really? That's what you guys did? I was expecting more. If Wes had directed this, it would have been better. You know.
I love that there's a lot of fans that go, the reason that film's shit is because they didn't have Kane Hodder playing Jason. You're like, no, the reason that film's shit is because it got made.
Yeah. It got made, and it got made the way what it did, you know? And like
14 screenwriters worked on that.
Wow. Holy shit. Really?
And it's the director. The director's a Hong Kong martial arts wire fu director, Ronnie Yu. So he was just like totally out of his element. I mean, he did some great wuxia movies in the early 90s, Bride with White Hair and things like that. And then he comes to the stateside and makes Freddy versus Jason and a Chucky movie. It's like, what?
What's one of the most memorable shots in that whole movie? That it made the trailer, it kind of made, I think, the entire film, is that when he has the wire work to pull Freddy out of the water like that, so he's kind of Matrix flying over Jason. You're like, oh shit, why isn't the whole movie like this? You know what I mean? Like, if that's your specialty, do that. You know, just do a lot of that.
I think he went back to Hong Kong. I think he went back to Hong Kong, and he's still making pretty good movies there, from what I remember. So,
plus they had to shoehorn one of Destiny's Child in.
Yeah. Oh, jeez.
Oh God, yeah.
The one who infamously improvs like a giant anti-LGBT slur. Just and they like, from what I've heard on other podcasts that have discussed it and read in articles around on the internet saying, "Wow, I sounded like a fake news advocate right there." Apparently, it was even shocking to the crew and everybody. They were like, "Whoa, you really dropped that? Okay." And it made the cut too. Holy fuck, this is in the movie. We're all at the premiere hearing her drop the F-bomb. Like, okay, never work again. See you later.
Okay, so Dave brought up a good point. If
I did. That's awesome. Thank you.
I mean, it sounds like this is a rare thing, but
apparently.
But when I think of modern day boogeymen, all the major ones, Wes Craven's name is attached. And it's just, to me, the modern day boogeyman is Freddy Krueger, and the killer in Scream.
Yeah, because that's just a costume that they bought. That it could be any one of us, like taking their love of horror too far.
I sense sarcasm.
No, I love Scream. Scream is one of my favorite movies, and it's like, you know, I actually was a little upset, kind of learning that the millennial crowd doesn't love it as much as I do, or at least they see it as kind of almost like the Saws, because there's like so many of them, you know. It's just another diluted franchise. But that first one was fucking awesome. And when that came out, you know, that whole idea of people like calling each other, we had just started to have a few of us have cell phones and doing that whole changing your voice and, you know, what's your favorite scary movie, like that. It created vernacular that really dominated pop culture for a while. You know, that's why the whole scary movie franchise started. You know, like they had to
horror had died in the 90s, and it was that parody basically that he made in Scream that brought horror back.
Yeah,
you could argue that he kind of reinvented horror 3 different times in his career.
Yeah, and that was the meta. That was the meta time what he made there with Scream. I'm sorry.
I don't know if Wes Craven intended it but I've talked about this before, but I think while Scream is amazing, it also unfortunately shifted Hollywood horror, or just horror, in the direction of just slasher gore without any imagination.
Yeah.
I gave up horror when it no longer was well written, and when it no longer used your imagination against you. And the shift away from that happened, I believe, in the mid to late 90s with the popularity of Scream and trying to replicate that.
Well, you also, I mean, Kevin Williamson is, I think, as equally responsible for a lot of that too, because it was that sort of same humor that then was starting to permeate, and it became the jump scare, quick kill, and quippy one-liners in between, you know, to keep everybody in levity and unsuspecting until all of a sudden someone pops out to kill you, you know. And you're right, it was almost like they cloned it a lot. I mean, that whole "I Know What You Did Last Summer," which also
Urban Legends.
Urban Legend. Oh my god! And then there was, well, I think the teen movies kind of started to get a little ridiculous not too long after that too, with things like The Covenant and wasn't there some other witch movie that was not The Craft that was also, but it was like stupid. Same time as The Covenant, and you're just like, what the fucking hell is going on? And then there was like Cry Wolf, which, Jesus, that was horrible. Did you ever see Cry Wolf with Bon Jovi?
Yeah, they have a guy who has fucked up hair to begin with, and they put a wig on him that's even more fucked up. Like, what the fuck?
Oh my god! That was a Scream clone if you've ever seen one. You know, I mean, the killer's basically just wearing a camouflage jacket and a ski mask and has a gun and a knife. You're like, okay, no, you guys aren't even trying now. You know, it's just, yeah, guy wearing random shit that someone in like Pennsylvania would wear.
It's just the killer's now just Chris Ripka.
Oh shit!
He's gone native.
Oh my god! Doing stage work. He's doing his stage work to cover all the bodies. That is wild.
Yep. So, if Scream gave birth to other like shite, like I Know What You Did Last Summer, I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Fucking
open the door for fucking Eli Roth.
Oh yeah, true. But then that took it. Yeah, I mean, Cabin Fever. Holy shit, that shit took it to another level. And Hostel. So it led to torture porn. Is that what we're saying? That the
yeah,
sort
pretty
of,
much.
Like the meta-ness of Scream and the sort of self.
I think you have a point there, because horror went 12A for a while. And that led to fucking torture porn horror, because people were fed up with not fucking seeing anything in a horror movie.
Oh shit, yeah. That first Hostel was pretty eye-opening. I mean, I know they sold it that way, like, oh yeah, you know, people are getting carried out in stretchers out of different film festivals from how shockingly gory this was. But then even watching it at home, it was just like, whoa, that's pretty fucking crazy. I don't know if I like this or not.
Yeah, I think it's Eli Roth made those movies as masturbatory sessions for himself. It's just, he made them to get off. And
well, the same could be said for Saw too.
No, I mean, like, at the same time though, you know, we're talking about, it sort of started with a guy who has razor blades for fingers though, you know, and I think, but even with that, a lot of the real gory parts of the violence were implied after the first one, you know, after the ceiling dragging, which even that, it's like the ceiling dragging part was the gory part, like him cutting her up was not. And whereas Eli Roth, it's like, let's put a microscope right over the part where you saw it into the bone. And like, let's get right in there with a fucking shotgun mics that it, like, they hear it. It's like, I want crunching. I want people vomiting while we watch this. It's like, I don't feel like Wes was going for that.
No.
Yeah, you look at Wes Craven at his most perverted in like Last House on the Left. It all builds towards a crazy ending. Hostel is just fucking nuts from the first minute of it.
Yeah.
There's no build, so you never really get the anticipation that an actual filmmaker brings to a movie that builds up to it, and then you're like, oh fuck, this is horrible, this is going to happen, you know it's going to happen, then it happens. Hostel's just stabby, shoot someone, chop their fucking head off, whatever. To me, that's just like a fucking 18 to 30 fucking holiday in Spain. That's what it looked like. After 2 weeks, that's what folk are doing to each other. That's not fucking scary.
Yeah.
Well, I think also too. I mean, I remember before I ever really watched all of the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, people, when you would mention that, would always say like, "Oh my god, the part where she's running up the stairs and they turn into marshmallows," or like the whole concept of being able to create the conditions that people associate with nightmares as like a universal, when nightmares and dreams are something that's very like personal to all of us. They found a way to make just going to sleep at night scary. You know what I mean? Like that's what you usually used to do to get away from the monsters. Just put your head under the covers and fall asleep.
Yeah.
I watched all the Elm Street movies about a year ago. Again, revisited them, and the first one, you know, it does have some very surreal moments in it, though. I mean, as far as the dream sequences and stuff, and that's what makes it such a memorable movie too. I mean, not just, you know, you got the guy with the razors on his hand, but there are some really odd set pieces there that really dive into dreams. And, you know, I mean, whether Wes was going after, I doubt he was going after anything with deep meaning in dreams or not, but, you know, it hit a nerve with me, and probably to this day yet, you know, when I sit down and write and do weird things. I don't know. That's just my take on it.
It's fucked up that they based Nightmare on Elm Street off of something they read in a newspaper and all about some guy dying in his sleep. That said he was terrified of these nightmares. These nightmares were trying to kill him.
But what wasn't part of that story that the guy's family didn't really believe him when he was trying to tell them, and when the night that he died, they heard him, you know, screaming, and it sounded like he was thrashing his room, and it was locked from the inside and they couldn't get into it, and by the time they got into his room he was dead. And it was sort of like, you know, to me that's something that even just describing it, I kind of feel like James Wan maybe heard Wes Craven tell the story of that, because that is an exact scene from Insidious now, you know, and the way that it was performed in Insidious was fucking horrible. Like the movie Insidious to me is on the same level of scary as maybe the first Nightmare on Elm Street was when I saw it. And it's because of moments like when in Nightmare, before Nancy, what was the first girl who gets dragged across the ceiling? What was her name? It wasn't Nancy. It was Lisa. Was it Lisa? Who was the first girl who got killed in Nightmare? Anyway, like she's out there walking around in the mist, and you just hear him whispering her name, you know, and like that kind of shit was horrifying before she got cut up and was dragged across the ceiling. And it's because we've all had really creepy shit like that happen in dreams, and it's interesting that everybody has these things that happen in their nightmares.
It's funny that you bring up James Wan, and we just got talking about all the torture porn, because it's a good thing James Wan didn't go down that path and keep making, like, personally directing all the Saw movies, and he's gone on to do Insidious and The Conjuring and higher elevated things than just Saw. Or
speaking of torture porn, the only reference for The Hills Have Eyes is the remake, and I don't know if the original was as crazy as the remake, but even Wes Craven's remakes got caught up in this shift in what horror was like in the 2000s.
Yeah. Didn't the director of the Hills Have Eyes remake, wasn't that French guy that did that one about the two women, the woman that was trying to kill
Alexandra?
Yeah. High Tension, yeah. Which was really gory.
I love that movie. That movie is awesome.
I mean, it's a guilty pleasure, but I can see, you know, the remake did go down that path though of extremity.
Isn't the one guy jerking off with the mouth of a severed head at one point, and then he just drops it out the van and drives off? Yeah, that was something new. Like we're going there now. This is what's
in the UK. We've had a prime minister that's done that with a pig's head, so that's nothing new.
Oh shit. Well, was that Black Mirror first episode?
Oh,
fucking
God.
Live pig, man. Live pig. Live on TV.
My God, I've never been more uncomfortable watching anything in my life.
Never be the same again. Never be the
just-
same again. But that was ballsy, you know, that was like a risk, taking a risk, making something like that. And I think,
Yeah.
you know, probably the other thing he based Freddy Krueger on was this guy that he saw walking when he looked out of his window of his bedroom, right, as a kid, and he saw this old man walking, and when he looked up in the streetlight and he saw his face for a second, it was like scary and just old and wrinkly. And then he combined that with a burned piece of pizza, like the different splotches on pizza cheese, and it's like the guy literally combined all these elements that scared the shit out of him, and now like he kind of instilled it in all of us. You know, and even now that he's gone, we'll all still have this as something that is a reference point for us, you know.
Yeah, that old guy was probably the local neighborhood pedophile or priest or both.
He's like the scary old guy in Home Alone. You know what I mean? That everyone sees walking around, they're like, he's got a dead body and all that salt. He's got a dead body.
Yeah, where I grew up, that would have been what folks said about him. Would have been, he's trying to touch your dick. I'm in Australia.
Oh, you Scottish silly people.
Mm-hmm.
So is Donkey Punch for life watching? No questions from DPFL?
He, the first one.
At least he's there, man. What's up, DK?
The first one is very much not appropriate.
Uh-oh. For life, man, for life.
If they remade Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger should be played by Charlie Sheen because apparently he's a paedophile. That's his comment.
Wasn't there talks of Billy Bob Thornton taking over the role at one point?
Really? Actually, I mean, at this point, I kind of feel like I'll give anything a chance. I don't know. I mean, shit can't get much worse than it's been, right? I mean, how fucking bad can things get?
I forgot the original was one of Johnny Depp's premieres. One of his first.
I think it wasn't it introducing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Introducing Johnny Depp, yeah.
Was he not like in a band or something at that time?
That I do not know.
I think he was in a band that Wes Craven's daughter had seen or something.
Oh, wow.
Fancied him, so that's how you get cast.
Yeah.
And then he made his famous cameo in the 6th one after all the years on Jump Street.
He could pretty much be Freddy Krueger now without the makeup or anything, because he's pretty much.
So I was not the only one thinking that.
Nope. I was thinking of it too.
Oh, shit. From Jack Sparrow to Freddy Krueger in a matter of, what, 10 years?
From battering his wife to Freddy Krueger.
Oh, jeez.
Allegedly.
Yeah. You stole my story. Oh, man.
One of the rumors I heard about Wes Craven was he was originally approached to direct It on TV, but turned it down because it was on TV and it was a miniseries.
Wow.
Probably would have done a better job.
And imagine him working with Tim Curry, with Tim Curry prepared to give that performance, and Wes Craven directed.
Yeah. And John Boy Walton. Can't forget him.
I just watched that a couple days ago again for the first time in a long time.
Is that just to prep for the new one?
No, that's why I did it. Yeah. Just to raise my expectations a little bit for the new one.
I raise them, dude. It looks fucking insane.
It does. It does. I don't want to be disappointed though. You know, it's Hollywood again. I mean,
it's not going to be another Dark Tower. It can't be. This shit has been, focused better. Like Dark Tower. I don't know. To me,
Stephen King said Dark Tower was the shit though too, before it came out. So
yeah, well, I mean, he also wants to make some money. You know what I mean?
He fucking said that about Under the Dome, the TV series.
Yeah, seriously. Come on.
He just wants money. He wants another Porsche. That's it.
I would be fucking saying all the shit based on my stuff is awesome too. I'm sure it's probably part of the contract says you have to. I think
11/22/63 was good.
I heard that. I haven't read that yet. I have the book somewhere.
The
book is great.
The book is one of my favorite books, period.
Wow. Wow, really?
Mr. Mercedes looks really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's only playing on DirecTV's 18
network, yeah.
There'll be a way. You know, someone will crack that shit. The Pirates Bay will have it at some point. That's
Man, if Wes Craven
Bay, not the podcast.
If Wes Craven would have done something by Stephen King, though, man, I'm surprised that didn't happen.
I mean, at least George Romero
Really?
and Stephen King worked on something. You know what I mean? At least one of the major greats.
I'm trying to think of a book that would be great for Wes Craven. Like if
to have directed an adaptation of
a
Stephen King.
Mm-hmm.
You know what would have been interesting is if he did like Eyes of the Dragon or something like that, like a period piece that wasn't exactly as big on the horror side, and then Wes could bring his horrorness to it.
I was thinking something like Heart of Atlantis or something like that.
Oh wow, nice.
Because his whole thing was he liked to try and get away from horror all the time. But he never got the material other than his Meryl Streep movie to do it.
Yeah.
Well, not just Wes Craven, anyone else could have made Daydreamer better.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
But
how about Maximum Overdrive? Could you imagine if Wes Craven had done Maximum Overdrive?
I got dropped out for a second. Did anybody say The Dark Tower? Because that might have been.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Since you mentioned Eyes of the Dragon, and that kind of has a little bit.
Yeah.
Back in the day, if he would have done The Gunslinger, I mean.
Yeah. Holy. I mean, that's the whole thing.
That could have been some shit.
If anybody had just done that first book, the shortest book in the series, and made that movie, the fact that we had things like Krull, but we couldn't have Dark Tower, like, are you fucking kidding me? You know what I mean?
The fact that we could have movies like Kazam and not
just yeah. I don't know, man. That's why I don't know. I remember there was a time friends of mine said there would never be live action comic book movies the way we have now. And I was just like, what? That's fucking ridiculous. We have Star Wars. We're gonna have live action comic books. To me, the excuse, oh, we can't do this, or oh, it's too big. It's like, nah, I don't know. You're just fucking lazy, man. You know what I mean? Like, eventually we had the Lord of the Rings, and forever people were saying that couldn't have been made. I think
they could have done by not making the fucking prequels.
Mm-hmm. True.
Let's not go down that fucking rabbit hole.
Yeah, and even Wes couldn't have saved those, I don't think.
No.
I don't think anyone could have saved those fucking movies. It's like,
yeah.
I'll be honest, though, I'm not a massive Lord of the Rings fan because to me it's just a movie about fucking hill walking. It's hill walking and like even the fucking trees are walking about. It's like fuck.
And at the end, they're always
short foot folk running about. It's creepy.
As they arrive at their location, eagles come and help them, and you're like, "What the fucking fuck?"
Yeah, we had
an Air Force. We could have just fucking flown here. This is insane. I'm not dropping your fucking ring in a cave.
Something I would have liked to have seen Craven do, and I'm a big fan of Lovecraft, is obviously I would have loved to see him do a Lovecraft adaptation.
Yeah.
Or something closely inspired by it. I mean, besides him doing something of King, doing something of Lovecraft would have been really cool.
I would like to have seen him do something with one of like the Cthulhu cult stories, like the what do they call them, the Drogons or whatever, like those people that live on the coast and the dead keep coming back out of the water. Like that could have been awesome.
Shadow over Innsmouth would have been a good one for him to do. Fish people.
Yeah.
But something,
They did 5 episodes of the Twilight Zone?
Oh wow.
Yeah, he did.
Did he do a Tales from the Crypt also, or no? I mean, I have his IMDb page. Are we talking directing or writing?
I think he directed them.
I think he directed a couple from the 80s Twilight Zone, yeah.
Yeah.
The first reboot.
Yeah, here we go. right before he did Serpent in the Rainbow.
Mhm.
I mean, what did you guys think of New Nightmare? I think that was him trying to like at least reinvent his or change the franchise up for a you know, at least a being 10 years old kind of thing. I've got a decade under my belt.
I liked it.
I enjoyed
I liked it for what it was. Yeah, I mean, it was something different. So,
Well, Jarrod's going to hop off, so we'll say bye to him while we continue. See you later, Jarrod.
Thanks for having me, Drew. You guys have don't give Drew too much of a hard time. Actually, do he deserves it. But see you guys.
See ya.
Later.
Well, that's us.
but yeah, back to
He's gone.
New Nightmare. I actually did enjoy that. I walked into the theater with very low expectations, but I liked how he tried to weave reality and the myth of the movies, and you know, you had the earthquake in LA at the time that he threw in there. I thought it was pretty genius for the time, you know.
Yeah, it was creepy as hell for sure.
Yeah,
I liked it.
It's too bad it didn't take off in any other kind of direction. You know, would have been interesting.
And then I think the next thing we got after that was Freddy vs. Jason, right? That's the I think it's like the 8th Nightmare movie. Yeah. So sad that that's the follow-up.
Oh boy.
Could have done with it that fucking Miko Hughes being in New Nightmare though.
He was I thought he was a good part of like the creepy kid from all the shit that was like creepy back then. It was in like he was in every movie for like 3 years. You know, that kid. Shit was wild. Jack the Bear, yeah.
Yep.
I remember that one.
It was good seeing Heller Langenkamp back in the franchise and all.
Those are the ones that were my favorite, 1, 3, and 7. You know what I mean? The ones that feel like they're connected because of her, I guess, you know, because they had the biggest through line. And because they felt like they had Wes on them, except for 3. I think someone else directed 3, but it still was like, I guess she kind of carried the spirit. No, he did the
four. Yeah, I don't remember who did 3.
I forget who did 3. We could look that up. I'll go onto the Google machine and find out while we continue here.
Yeah, she was basically the Jamie Lee Curtis of that franchise.
Yeah. And it's interesting because the franchise thrived on
Chuck Russell, yeah.
Chuck Russell. The franchise thrived on sort of not having just one of those. You know what I mean? Like, although after her, it was for the next from 3, and then she didn't come back for 4, but it was her character continued into 4.
Yeah, they can afford her for 4.
And so each movie would always bridge with whoever the lead was, right? So like the lead from 3 survived into 4, gets killed in 4. The new lead in 4 survives into 5. She gets killed. Then 6, they kind of took a couple of years off and then did the whole Freddy's dead, which brought in the Freddy's daughter storyline to be super huge. And even that was Wes Craven. Like, I feel like wasn't he had to at least approve somewhat all the others, right? Yeah. I mean, did he at least have that level of involvement?
I think he probably had the same type of deal Carpenter's got on the new Halloween, which is they basically go, here's some money. And
we're doing this.
He doesn't say shit in the trades.
And you just go home, go back to your fucking mansion, count all the money we just gave you. We gave it to you in singles, so it would take longer to count.
Carpenter's doing the soundtrack, but it is just probably the soundtrack from the first one.
For the new Big Trouble
the new Halloween.
The new Halloween. So they're probably just using the exact same soundtrack, and that's how they say he's doing.
For Nightmare 3, Wes Craven was executive producer and one of the screenwriters.
Was he?
There you go.
It says, I thought he had a little bit more involvement in that one.
Because I remember in that same behind the scenes thing I watched on the DVDs, he was talking about how the concept for Dream Warriors evolved a bunch of times and had to keep getting whittled down because the first idea they had for it was that it was like the Dream Warriors are people all over the country that are having these dreams where they realize they have strengths and powers and can fight back. And they're all sort of drifting in the same direction and winding up in the same place. And then slowly but surely that got to be teenagers in a friggin' insane asylum being, kind of half held prisoner by a nurse Ratchet. And thank God there's like a guy who looks like Bill Maher, who isn't Bill Maher, who is they're going to kind of like save the day because he believes in, in Heather Langenkamp telling about her experience with the boogeyman, the modern day boogeyman. So I like 3 a lot, if you can't tell. Son of 100,
bitch.
the bastard
Best
son of
line
100 maniacs. Welcome to prime time, bitch. Yeah, man. Freddy Krueger. I mean, what a staple.
The third one is fucking properly a good film.
Yeah,
like if you look, anyway you're looking at a movie, like it's not going to win fucking Oscars or anything, but it's very tightly done from beginning to end. There's no massive plot holes.
Right.
The more the franchise goes on, the plot holes come in because it's just as quick as they can get a fucking script out.
Yeah.
And the first one has that almost grindhouse exploitation, raw horror kind of movie feeling to it yet. You know, it still has that early Wes Craven, you know, punch to it before it got watered down and satirized and everything, which is still great. The franchise is, you know, still good, but there's that first one just has that raw feeling to it.
The second one's just shit.
Oh yeah.
Second one was rushed.
And it just felt like it was one of those things where, like, wow, you really don't get what they were going for with the first one at all. And now you're kind of taking it into such a, you know, painted into a corner almost, that the only way to save it is like bring back the main lead from the first one, bring back her dad, let's have a little bit of continuity, and let's get this fucking thing back on track. And
that's exactly why they did that.
Yeah, it's like, let's bring in a new team. We'll call these guys the Dream Warriors. Whoever survives this, they become the team going into the next one, and that's how we leapfrog. We keep the chains connected here.
So just mate was always slightly pissed off that they never used John Saxon's karate skills from Enter the Dragon in that one.
It was kind of shit the way he died, but you know. It was also made sense, though, because it's like we don't want to see him anymore after this. You know, like he's already kind of changed so much from the guy he was when we saw him last. And I mean, to me, like you said, it's not going to win Oscars, but at least they were paying attention to character development to that degree. And the fact that you could find a way to bring Langenkamp back in and have it feel like, yeah, this was obviously always planned from the start, you know? It's
always been the thing, I think, that it has over, like, the Friday the 13th franchise is continuity. Even as the films got shit, there was still continuity. Friday the 13th, they forget how they fucking killed him in the last movie in half.
Yeah.
So
and it was all very surface. It's like, new bunch of people show up, time for a new bunch of strangers to die. You know, no one ever seems to know the same shit about Jason. Whereas Freddy, there's always somebody who knows part of the lore. There's always someone who, I heard this rhyme in my dreams, and someone else is like, I know what that means. You know what I mean? It was like, you know, part of the fun of each one was when someone was going to find the info about Freddy and where they found it and you know, how they explained their understanding. And, you know, there will be those moments where we're watching going like, yeah, no, I literally just watched 3 before this one. That's not how it works. But I mean, close enough. And like, what the fuck? You guys are going off cliff notes anyway. You know, you weren't there. We just watched it. You know, plus it was, you know, back in the day when there was at least like a year or two between sequels, right? Like it wasn't now we're like, hey, as the first movie's premiering in the theater, they're already shooting the sequel because they did an artificial intelligence engine analysis of recent movie-going trends that said people are most likely going to see a sequel if we make one. So fuck it, let's just make it. You know what I mean? It's kind of, things are so different now, but like back then a rushed sequel would have been like it came out within 2 years, you know, and then even then it took a year to get to fucking video. Like I remember waiting for things to come to video as a kid, and now it's like, oh, hey, did you just see that in the theater? Because you could go buy it on iTunes right now. Like, exactly. You didn't need to see it in the theater, actually. We just tricked you, and now you could go buy it again. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. Well, there's so many films that the premiere is happening in some fucking cinema, and it's on, like, iTunes or fucking Amazon or whatever. And you're like, why is any fucker going to see it?
Yeah.
You know?
Why are you even having the premiere at an actual location? You know?
Yeah, you bring up a good point. I remember when movies took forever to come out on video. Good year at least. And then when they came out on video, they were priced at like $100 for the video.
Right. Yeah,
You couldn't just go, oh, hey, I can buy the DVD now for $10. You know, it was like, I got to wait another 3 years before this comes down in price so I can own it. So I'll just have to copy it.
Yeah, I think it was like so that the only people who could buy it were like the video rental houses, right? And that they would just get out of stuff for it. And then after a while, they would either sell you the used copies, or there was a point where after about 3 or 4 months, they would come down to like $25 a tape. You know,
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, exactly what they cost now on Blu-ray and DVD. But
Exactly.
it's fucking nuts. Like now we don't have that period where they come out at the $100. But what they do is you can get just the Blu-ray, or you can get the Blu-ray plus the digital, and that's a little bit more. And then you get the Blu-ray plus the 3D plus now fucking 4K and Ultra. You're just like, geez,
and they still have the Blu-ray DVD combo packs.
Yep, which I actually buy because you never know. You're going to be out in the middle of bumblefuck somewhere, and they only have a DVD player in the hotel if they have a DVD player. And like most computers don't have disk drives anymore, so. You know, so that's why you have to buy the one that also comes with the digital download, so you can put it on your fucking iPad. And then you find out that they're going to pull stuff off Netflix, and it's like, oh shit! If you don't buy it, you can't watch it now. You
can't count on Netflix.
Or any.
But yeah, I remember when the first Nightmare, the whole Nightmare on Elm Street series came out on DVD for the first time. It was like a $120 disc set.
Yeah.
And now, you know, I got it last year for like $30.
But at the time, it was also it was the 7 movies plus the 2 pairs of the 3D glasses for the
that's right,
the brain sequence in Freddy's Dead. And if you put when you turned the box around, all the discs were like lined up, and it made a picture of Freddy. Yeah. You know, standing with his arms, with his hands crossed behind his back, and his back to you, and you just see the claw. It was Freddy from New Nightmare, though. It was like the most modern version of Freddy from that time,
right? And now
everybody wanted it. Everybody wanted that box set. I remember all of us at college were like, I'm asking for that for Christmas, so hopefully I got that for Christmas. And now you're just like, oh shit, there's a Blu-ray for $30, I'll go pick that up. You know what I mean? Like, without even thinking about it. 3 of those, and it's that box set from back in the day, you know. And it's just it's crazy.
So what would you say are his top 3 films?
Wes Craven, his top 3. How do you define the top 3? Is it based on like the 3 scariest, or the 3 best made, or your favorites?
Your favorites. I think that's the only way you can really go about it. Maybe your favorites.
I would say Serpent and the Rainbow, the original Nightmare on Elm Street, and The Hills Have Eyes. The original. Those are my top 3.
I feel like because it was such a, for me, discovering Wes Craven was such a, like, that middle school, high school period of my life. It is the first Nightmare on Elm Street and Scream are like the 2 big ones that resonated the most. But I loved People Under the Stairs. I thought that was the idea. And at the time I had watched Twin Peaks because my dad was like a really big Twin Peaks fan, and it made me grow up as a big Twin Peaks fan. And the scariness of the fact that these could be people living in your neighborhood, you know what I mean? Like that this could be, and that they could have all of these inbred freaks living under the stairs that they're feeding intruders to. And it's funny because the kid who played, what was the character who had his tongue cut out? He wasn't Fool. Fool was the little kid who broke in with his dad in the beginning, but the guy who had his tongue cut out, damn it, I can't remember the character's name, but anytime I would see him in anything else, I'm always like, oh, the kid from People Under the Stairs. I was like the kid with no tongue from People Under the Stairs. So that definitely like just left me a little scared and scarred. So it has to be in the top 3 for me.
Yeah, for me it's Hills Have Eyes, Nightmare on Elm Street, and Last House on the Left.
Yeah,
but we all have Nightmare as like a. Nightmare is the axis for the podcast, for the show. We'll all come down on that one.
I think if people look back at the last 30 years of horror films, it's got to be in everyone's top 10.
Yeah. Because I don't think there has been a solid enough franchise figure, you know, an icon that has been able to dethrone Freddy from, I mean, it's even permeated like one of the, I think it was Mortal Kombat 10. All of a sudden, there's a fucking downloadable, expandable character that's like, oh, wait, Freddy? I'm playing with Freddy Krueger. Okay. Freddy Krueger.
He's going to be in Ready Player One.
Yeah.
If you've watched the preview for the Spielberg movie, there's a Freddy Krueger image in it.
Because of they did a Nightmare on Elm Street video game back in the day, you know. So
right. Yep, and he's part of 80s pop culture too. That whole movie is 80s pop culture in the future, nostalgia for nostalgia, but Freddy Krueger's in it.
But that's just like part of the whole thing where like the guys who program Mortal Kombat obviously grew up loving Freddy Krueger. Yep. And that's the only reason they'd say, fuck it, let's throw him in 10. Let's make a guy who is not known at all for doing crazy supernatural martial arts. Although I guess he did beat the crap out of that kid in 4 who was the martial arts master who was fighting him while he was invisible. But I don't know. I'm probably taking this way too seriously.
No. They even had didn't they have the 1-900 numbers where you could call and listen to Freddy Krueger talk?
Yeah, like
the late night commercials.
He's the first anti-hero, you know what I mean? Like after the first and second one, it's like you're kind of waiting for what he's gonna say and do and how he's gonna like the humor and how he's gonna kill people and shit. And you're like, yeah, back in then we didn't know what an anti-hero was. We didn't know why we liked the bad guy in these movies or why it was okay to like the bad guy. You know, you're laughing because it's easier to laugh than be scared.
Yeah. According to Donkey Punch for Life, the original anti-hero was James Remar in Warriors. He wasn't an anti-hero.
James Remar! That's funny.
Rapist in that movie.
Maybe we'll get to knock some wool down on this trip. She tries to rape, what's her name? Mercedes Rule.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
There's nothing heroic about that at all.
He was one of the best fighters until he got sucker punched because he was handcuffed to the bench. That was the way he dies. You know he's not making it to the hospital. You're like, oh shit, he's already spitting up blood. That's not good. They exploded an organ. That guy's fucked. It's like something Freddy would do to somebody.
Yeah.
How about least favorite Wes Craven films?
It could be like Wes Craven presents They, you know, or one of those ridiculous ones that like I wanted to see it because of the title. I think Dracula 2000. He didn't direct it, but he executive produced it, and it was like a Wes
presented.
Craven presents. Yeah. I'll put that one up there, even though Jarrod Butler's in it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to say I've been holding back on saying it, but I just couldn't get into Scream. I was
to say, is that the one? I've been waiting to hear which one you were going to unload on, and I figured it was going to be Scream.
I'm not going to say I understand its impact, but and maybe I need to give it another chance. But at the time when I watched it, I just couldn't. It just didn't feel like Wes Craven to me. It just didn't feel like it.
I don't know. I kind of got the Nightmare on Elm Street vibe from it right away, but it was much more. It's written as an homage to Halloween. So you have one horror master making a movie that was written as an homage to a competing horror master.
Always it was more the screenwriter's movie than Wes Craven.
Yeah. But then when you watch, I mean, that was one of the first movies I ever watched with a running commentary because I was so into that movie in high school that there was a box set of the first one on VHS. So we're talking before everything could be on one piece of media. And one cassette was the widescreen version of the movie.
Yep.
And the other cassette was the movie with the running commentary with Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson. And so this was like a holiday break. I'd gotten this for Christmas for my girlfriend at the time. And I'm watching it at like 1 a.m. And the idea that this filmmaker was going to be like sitting here almost like watching the movie with us and saying, oh yeah, when we were doing this happened. And the things that they talked about, like how the way he got Drew Barrymore to cry as intensely as she was for that whole opening sequence, like where he was constantly reminding her of this story she had read in the news about a guy abusing his dog and burning it alive in a bag. And he would keep saying things like right before they would do a take, he'd be like, hey, by the way, Nev, I'm not Nev, by the way, Drew, I'm lighting a lighter. And she would be like, she would instantly freak out. And it's like, shit. All right. So, you know, as much as it didn't have the feel of like, hey, there's a giant room being spun around and we're doing all this surrealist dream crap, it was the way he would approach scaring the people making the performances, or the psychology that was going into it, that I was like, oh shit, that's when I realized you have to actually be super smart to make a movie too. You know what I mean? Like, it can't just be this thing you throw fucking together. Like, these guys are working, their minds are working on such a different level. And I think that's why I always was like, I hope I get to meet somebody like this, you know, who can kind of just be cool with you, be real with you, and share a little bit of how their mind works, so you could kind of see, oh, that's, you know, that's how you can approach this and not be overwhelmed by it, you know, by the gravity of what you're doing.
I always presumed he just had our Coke. And that's what
the soda or the nose candy?
Yeah.
Nose candy.
I should probably, in all fairness to it, I should probably give it another chance. I mean, because at the time when it came out too, I fell out of horror films too. I did not, you know, appreciate them, you know, and then I got back into them. So it was a different time period for me. So, you know, maybe I should, I might have better appreciation for it now. Hard to say.
I think it was, you know, also the dawn of like a, wow, they were, with the way that the ending happened, it was like that I did not see coming. This whole idea of multiple people working together, and it being like a more of a, instead of just who's the killer, it's like, oh, who are the fucking crazy people who are friends and decided to become killers together. And I remember coming up with all these crazy theories of like how, you know, there's got to be someone else that we didn't see in this movie, and this whole thing with Cotton Weary. I was like obsessed with Cotton Weary, who was such an ancillary character who only materializes finally really in the third movie, and just to get killed at that. I mean, he was in the second one too, but it just, I don't know, it fueled my love for like the whole, you know, cliffhanger storytelling, and I gotta know, I gotta find out, I gotta see the twist ending. It's probably why I then liked shows like Lost and Battlestar Galactica, where they just kept pulling you along with the hook. And I think that has taken root today in a lot of formulas. I mean, you know, look at The Walking Dead and Game of Thrones.
Yeah, it's quite funny that it's come full circle, because it's all the things that Wes Craven and Kevin Williamson were slagging off and Scream about the jump cuts every 10 minutes is now what Hollywood makes as a horror movie. I actually saw an outline from Dimension. They gave to a screenwriter. That was the notes they basically gave him, and they said there's not enough jump scares. You have to put a jump scare every 10 minutes. There has to be a kill every certain amount of pages. And the funny thing is, the film wasn't about like a fucking serial killer or anything. It was like this really slow burn. A guy plotting to kill his wife. So it's like this whole slow burn up to the end. Where is he going to do it? Is he not going to do it? Because he's trying to hook up with this woman that's like half his age. So like they're wanting fucking kills in it. So like the movie script ends up with him killing her cat and all this shit.
Anything that's around, just grab it and kill it. Just kill anything you can. Holy shit.
And that's Dimension for you.
There you go.
That's why they make such classy horror movies.
That was the offshoot of Miramax. That was their horror division. That I feel like started because of Scream. I think, didn't they have like a lot of the Marco Beltrami music kind of was part of the Dimension animation. And I mean, there were a lot of movies that then felt like Dimension films. You know what I mean? And I kind of always felt, and a lot of them were like the Wes Craven Presents They and you know, Dracula 2000, but there were a few in there like Phantoms, which were kind of half outlier-ish, half kind of, hey, if you knew there was a book, if you're a Dean Koontz fan at all, maybe you'll like this, or if you don't hate Ben Affleck yet, maybe you'll like this. You know, if you liked Rose McGowan in Scream, you don't get to see her nipples in this one, but you might like this, you know. And hey, there's Cotton Weary again. It felt like Dimension had corralled a few players that were going to keep popping up in all their films.
Right.
And that was back when all of their movie posters and the VHS covers of the movies were all the same. It was just like the ensemble shot of the cast with their names
something in the background.
Them. Yeah. Or sometimes I think on Scream, it was just they were all wearing all black, and it was a dark void in the background. And it was just like, wow, you guys are going way minimalist on this. Like, fucking, why bother? You know, give me a logo or something. Where's Batman?
Yep. Ben Affleck was always fucking annoying. Sorry.
I liked Liev Schreiber in Phantoms, though.
I like him in Ray Donovan and shit like that.
Yeah.
He's
He's
a great
good.
actor. He was good in the Omen remake as well, which
Mhm.
wasn't a particularly good movie, but he was good in it.
Yeah, he's good in a lot of the stuff he's in.
So, what would you say is the defining legacy of Wes Craven's films?
Hmm. Well, I mean, besides creating one of the modern day boogeymen, and I think, I don't know, maybe he introduced the idea of people bringing a little bit of what is in their own nightmares to the theater with them, and just kind of expecting that, you know, enough that you got to laugh at the boogeyman after a while. You know, it's interesting how it makes it scary as hell at first and then kind of eases it and lets it become this cheesy thing. And then when he reinvented it, he made it scary again, but in a way that was kind of cool, you know, with New Nightmare. So he's definitely a guy who just kept doing what he wanted to do, though. You know, he kept making movies, and that's cool.
Yeah, I think when I think of Wes Craven, that's exactly kind of what I think of, is just he was doing things his way. You know, some of his movies did have major studio distribution, but they always had that Wes Craven feel to them. People Under the Stairs was distributed by Universal Pictures, but it still felt like a Wes Craven movie. You know, you knew what you were getting into. Humor was there. The shocks were there. It was just, you know, unfortunately for every People Under the Stairs, you had movies like Shocker, you know, but he was always trying something new. You know, you got to hand it to the guy, you know, and then he would do something like Serpent in the Rainbow, and then he would do Vampire in Brooklyn. You know, it just, to me, that's
Wishmaster.
Wishmaster. To me, that's kind of his
Wishmaster.
That he, you know, he was willing to keep trying his own thing, and you know, obviously, like you said, he created the modern day boogeyman, which to this day everybody knows who Freddy Krueger is, whether it was intended or not, you know. But yeah, it's just some of that charm is missing in horror movies today. Some of that style of filmmaking.
Yeah. For me, there's only two horror icons that don't come from literature. Like, so you get your Frankenstein, your Draculas, you know, you could throw Pinhead in there if you want. For me, there's Norman Bates and there's Freddy Krueger.
Wow, nice. Yeah. Nice.
That's his legacy. He created the cinema horror icon.
Yeah.
He also created some shit, like, as you said, Shocker. Yeah. When you think of the budget he made it on, it's not that bad a movie for what he got. It's like Swamp Thing. When he signed on to Swamp Thing, it had like something, I think it's 7 times the budget it ended up having. So like they're making Swamp Thing on a scale that most people would have catering. The budget for catering on a movie. So, you look at it that way, he didn't do too bad. Although that film, I fucking watched it last week. It is so bad. It's not fucking aged well.
Swamp Thing. Yeah.
But yeah,
I mean,
the same way go away. You're talking about Wishmaster. I don't mind the first one. I actually don't mind the Wishmaster movies when they have Andrew Divoff in them, because he's quite charismatic, you know, motherfucker. So he brings a lot to the role. It's when it becomes Jason Connery, who's just a cunt, that that franchise dies.
Yeah,
for me.
There was also something about just like the idea of Wes Craven. Of course, you know, we were only exposed to him once he was like an older gentleman, but it just kind of the idea that there was this sort of like guy that, to me, when you would hear him talking in interviews, it's like, it sounds like my grandfather or something, you know what I mean? Like, and so there was almost like this, the oddity of the fact that there was somebody that was bringing this much care and wisdom to it, and that the movies they were making were these like explorations of the darker side of humanity, you know, that it's a dichotomy that I think I always remember even being told as a kid, like all my friends got to watch these movies before I did, because I had bad nightmares as a kid. And when I would tell my mom I wanted to watch them, she's like, oh, you know, these are stupid anyway. Why would you want to watch movies about something like that? And it's like, I don't know, you watch it now and you're like, well, shit, there's a lot going on here. You know what I mean? This is, I don't know, maybe it's like a slightly arrogant argument to make, but I think there's a certain level where people who don't know how to create, or who have never tried to create something like that, can look at it and say, oh, it's a guy with fucking knives on his hand and killing people. I remember my grandmother saying, like, what's so fun about somebody attacking people when they're at their most vulnerable? And I'm like, it's the fact that we have no control over it. Like, if it's not this guy with the fucking knives on his fingers, it's going to be whatever we dream up in our nightmares. So it's capitalizing on that, and it's telling a story that we can all relate to. You know, it's interesting when you kind of make it about something a little bit more social, or like whatever this guy's soul was telling us through his work, you know?
Yeah. I think one of the sad things about his career is he did want to do, you know, different genres of things. And when he did step into other genres, sometimes he was hindered by having Eddie Murphy in his movie. Or, but sometimes they came out, you know, you get like the movie with Meryl Streep, that does really well. So it's like he obviously could do other stuff, but he was always pulled back into horror. Someone had mentioned here, a screenwriting friend of mine says he remembers that rumoured back in the day that Wes Craven was signed on to do Seven.
Oh, wow.
So Fincher got it.
Wow.
That would have been an interesting movie
crap.
if he had done it.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
but it's again like, you know, the way Fincher has a look to his films, like we already immediately had that. Whoa, crap! This would have even looked different, you know. I mean, shit. How would they have even approached it? You know, that's a mind-altering fucking moment right there to try to imagine Seven as done by Wes Craven. You know.
He also points out that in that version, the Morgan Freeman role, it was back when Gene Hackman was cast.
Wow, holy shit.
So it was before he pulled out. So he would have had a movie with Gene Hackman and a movie with Meryl Streep. That'd have been not bad on the CV.
Yeah, right. It's funny to think that guys like that would even have to worry about the CV after a while. You know, like, hey, I changed part of cinema. Isn't that enough? Or you need to see who I worked with too. Shit. Tough room.
Wow.
You know?
It's like, I remember reading John Carpenter was asked to come in and speak with Sylvester Stallone because Sylvester Stallone didn't think he could do a good enough job on the film Detox, which was a piece of shit movie. You're like, have you seen your movies in the last decade?
Yeah.
Shit, you could probably do with having John Carpenter make it.
Yeah, exactly. It's, I don't know. We talk a lot about it. I mean, at least, you know, some of us to varying degrees have like that scene behind the curtain perspective, but it is pretty wild when you think about how much more goes into all of this than just like, all right, what we wind up finally seeing on the screen. Some of it can seem just absolutely downright ludicrous, and you're like, well, that's just because they fucked him on the permits for this, and he had 2 days to film, and you know what I mean? Like the budget got slashed while they were in the middle of shooting, and this guy was threatening to quit, so they had that day to get it done. It fucking rained. It's now raining in this shade. You know what I mean? That's just how it goes. You know, and so it's hard because you do have to hold the product up as the thing. This is what this is what we have to judge sort of your talent based against. This is what you're presented. And you know, as much as we all like to say, I would never put my name on this. It's like, all right, well, now you're here, and now the opportunity is there, and you're working for a studio. Put your fucking name on it. You know what I mean? Like but that's part of the job. If it was easy, everyone would do it, kind of thing.
Yeah. Well, as we come to the end of the episode, it's time for you to pimp your shit. So, Jeff, you can go first.
All right. Well, I'm the co-runner of our little film production company, Cellar Films. We don't really have a website yet, but you can find us on Facebook and on Instagram. You can actually look up Cellar Dweller Films Entertainment on Facebook. Right now, we are prepping our new short film, which has been in the works for a long time, which Wes Craven might have actually kind of liked. It's called Dread Flush. It's based on a Japanese urban legend, but it's going to be kind of gory, kind of funny, and we're really excited about getting it off the ground. Really excited. And we start production September 30th. So.
Nice. Awesome.
And
Thanks.
All right. Well, as my very busy lower third informs you, I am the CEO and founder of the Hollow9ine Network, which is a podcast network that you can find at hollow9ine.com, where we have a whole slew. I think right now it's at 19 RSS feeds about all kinds of things, from shows specific to different TV shows to other shows that are more generalized talk shows about genres of TV. We have a couple sort of look back at the history of movies type podcasts as well. And we're going to be doing something pretty interesting that falls a lot into sort of the radio drama territory. Pretty big thing that we're working on now that we'll start dropping titles and name dropping who's going to be participating. True, Carson, at some point down the road when it's a little closer to coming out, but it will be out before the end of the summer. At least the first couple episodes will be, so you can find that on iTunes as well. So please rate and review. We'd love that.
And this week, fucking next week even, on Haver, it's the last episode of the season. We've got just about everyone coming back that's been on it, other than the people I don't like, so you'll be able to work that out.
That's going to be fun.
I'm probably going to call quite a lot of them out on some shit, because it's funny to do it when they're actually there. And I'll probably cut people's mics off times as well. I'm thinking of doing that to Ripka, to be honest. I think that'd be fun.
Oh, dude. This is going to be great. This is going to be
So we
great.
got that coming up. There's going to be a special on Scream Queens coming up as well. Not the show, actual fucking Scream Queens from horror movies that I'll be doing the round table with. I think Dave was wanting to be a part of that show.
Yes. Sure. Oh, I will work on it. Right now, my voice is crap, but yes, I can scream to a degree.
Yep. What else? I've got an offer that writes zombie movies coming on next week. Seems like a cool guy. If he's not, I'll call him a cunt. So, as always, it's the end of the show, so fuck off.